Pero bueno, ok. Ok, vamos a dar. Vamos a dar. So yesterday was in Spanish, please. I don't know if the repetition from yesterday in English. Okay. So we're in chapter 24. And what we're doing is that we're following this book, which is amazing. It's the Tanya in synthesis. It's stories. And we're elaborating from here. Okay, this is where we start off from the book, but then we elaborate. And here in this book, chapter 24, yeah, but we are in the middle of this chapter. We're in page actually 140. And we're gonna read one story, and then we're gonna go through this page, okay? It makes you feel like you're in the little children's book. But I think children's stories are the best. I'm about the Shuva. I learned the most. I learned the best through children's books of Torah. I love them. So, okay. Here we are. Here we go. Okay. This is a story of the governor of Morocco, of Saleh. We read this last week, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. Of Saleh, Morocco. And he was marrying off his daughter. So this is the governor. He's not Jewish. And he's marrying off his daughter. His entire family bought expensive clothing and sent them to the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He sent them to a Jewish sage that was a very reputable sage, but he also was a master goldsmith. So what he wanted is that these gold threads should be woven into the special clothing for his daughter's wedding. He was ordered to weave gold threads into the material. The Or HaChaim declined to accept the job. So he said he's not gonna do it. Every month, the sage said, I work just enough to earn what I need for my livelihood. And the rest of the time, I devote to learning Torah. This month, I have already earned enough money, so I will not work anymore. Very high level. You know, there are stories of tzaddikim, and there is a whole compendium of children's stories of tzaddikim that I think are really like the best literature ever. And the reason that we read about them, you know, it's give you a little background. This is called, the Tanya is called the book of the Beinoni. The Beinoni is the middle guy, the middleman. So he's not a tzaddik, okay? He's not a tzaddik. He's trying his best, but he has his animal soul. He has his yetzer hara. He has his struggles, okay? The tzaddik is a special soul. It's a special gift. It's not like, you know, we cannot wear a t-shirt that says, when I grow up, I'm going to be a tzaddik or tzaddikin. It doesn't work that way. Because either you're born with the potential to be a tzaddik or not. It's like, you know, either you're born with a potential to be a world-class athlete, Olympic athlete, or you're not. Now, if you're born with a potential to be an Olympic athlete, does not mean that if you just be a couch potato your whole life, you're gonna be an Olympic athlete. We understand that, right? You are given the gift, but then you need to work on yourself. That is the portion of the tzaddik. The tzaddik is given this portion that he can actually work out himself that his animal soul, he can extirpate it. He can take the animal soul and it'll be like two divine souls. Like the stories of tzaddikim where the animals, you know, if one tzaddik for a long time he had this animal and then he sold it, and then the person that bought it comes and complains, you know, your animal works very nicely from Sunday to Friday. But then Friday evening, it stops working. Saturday, it doesn't want to move. So the tzaddik had to go to the ear of the animal and say, you don't work for me anymore. You're going to work on Shabbat now. I love stories of tzaddikim because it can tell us, you know, this is like such a high level. It is attainable by a certain few people. But this is a portion that Hashem has enabled them to achieve. But so what is it to me? If I didn't get that portion, I wasn't born like that. It just means to keep my head up high. Because everything in life is perspective. You know, I once read, what is the distance between north and south? How can you determine the distance between north and south? What is the distance between north and south? How many miles? How many billions of miles? How many inches? It's a turn of the head. I'm facing north. Now I'm facing south. That's it. So it's perspective. So why do we talk about tzaddikim? You know, the Alter Rebbe wrote a book for tzaddikim, and it was burned on a fire. His really good friend, the Spoiler Sadie, told him, you know, the world is not ready for that. There's only a few tzaddikim, at least 36 in each generation. It's like Hashem sprinkles a little bit of salt, you know, a little bit of salt to preserve humanity. But the world is not ready for that book, and it's going to be burnt. And this is Y.Y. Jacobson's story. He says, and when the book is going to be burned, my life, the life of his really good friend, the Spoiler Sadie, is also going to be forfeit in heaven. And so it happened. By the time the Alter Rebbe got back to his house, the house was burning, and his book of tzaddikim was burned. And then he got notice that his friend, the Spoiler Sadie, had died. So then he took 20 years and he wrote this book of tzaddikim, of Beinoni. And this is the book that we study. The book of the Tanya is a how-to book, how to become a Beinoni, how to live life with our head looking up high and not looking down low. And so that's why we talk about tzaddikim, okay? So here they're talking about this high-level tzaddik who says, you know, I only work enough to get by my parnasa for the month, and I'm not going to accept your job. So what happened to him? When the governor learned of the Or HaChaim's refusal, he was fuming. He ordered that his pet lions be starved, and then sent soldiers to bring the Or HaChaim to the palace grounds and place him into the lion's den. Just like Daniel, right? The prophet Daniel that was put into the lion's den. The Or HaChaim calmly sat down among the lions and recited Tehillim. The hungry animals crouched around him, ignoring their hunger pangs. The holy tzaddik had the image of Hashem on his face, and the lions were naturally afraid of him and would not dare to attack. So what is it telling us? What can I learn from this story? I am certainly not in this level. Not in this level. Okay. No. Now I don't know if we can discern here. This is like life. Yeah. Maybe you think it's better? I'm thinking. Okay. Okay, let's see. So we're going to explain here So we have, this is a whole premise of the Tanya. We have two souls, the divine soul, which is a piece of God. This is I came programmed, my computer. This is my hard disk. I came to be the best Jewish woman that I can be, the best Jewish mother, the best Jewish daughter, the best Jewish sister, that I want to transcend. This divine soul, what is the face looks like? The face looks like a happy face. It's always happy. If it rains, it's happy. If it doesn't rain, it's happy. If it got its lollipop, it's happy. If it didn't get its lollipop, it's happy. It's happy because it's totally in tune with what Hashem wants. And in you know, even if we don't want to face it, whatever happens in life, after the fact, for sure, it's what Hashem wanted it to be. It's very hard. You know, today it's also, I was reading, it would have been the 6th birthday of Ariel Vivas, this little redhead boy that was kidnapped and murdered by Hamas, right? And we cannot understand, in my head, in our human head, we cannot understand how this evil could happen. But we do know that if something already happened, for sure, it's in some way. We don't understand it. I'm not justifying it in any way, but it is in the plan of Hashem. So it's a very high level. May Hashem not test us. But that's why the divine soul that is totally in tune is like it's a part of Hashem. There's no ego. There's no filter. You know, when Moshe spoke the first 4 books of the Torah, it says he was just like the throat of Hashem. He was just like a medium through which Hashem, he didn't process information. It wasn't like Hashem talked to Moses and then Moses talked to the people. No. It was like, if I take my phone is not thinking. I am talking and my voice is going. That was the first 4 books of the Torah. The 5th book on the Torah that we started this week, the Varim, is different. Then Hashem talked to Moses, and then there was a process, and then Moses said it over. That's the 5th book. Divine soul is totally in union, in unison with Hashem. So whatever happened in life, as hard as it sounds, you know, I'm going to tell you something. My whole life, I told everybody I am a teacher. I told my children, you know, I don't believe in divorce. No divorce. Every marriage can work, right? You work hard. Every marriage can work. You work at it hard a little bit more. You know, I say, Shalom Bayit for me is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. You know, you can bang your head up against the wall. You're going to make it. Okay. My first son, my beautiful son. One day he calls me, Mom, I need to get out of this marriage. I need to get divorced. And he tells me what's going on. And I say, go for it. I'm behind you. And what did my other children tell me? Mommy, didn't you say every marriage can work? Mommy, didn't you say that? And I say, I still stand by it. I still believe every marriage can work. But what happens is that we have an animal soul. And from the animal soul, this is where the ego can be born. And the ego this has, you know, its point of gravity is Hashem. Whatever Hashem wants, that's what I want. The ego is whatever I think it should be. So I said to my children, you know, I still believe, I'm very optimistic, every marriage can work. But when somebody's ego gets in the way, then there's nothing to do. If somebody's ego gets in the way, then you're not speaking to the divine soul. And then a marriage can turn toxic. And you need to get out of a toxic marriage because you can hurt yourself. I've seen toxic marriage. I've seen them too close to me. They can debilitate a person. They can They can do the worst
They
thing.
disconnect from the divine source.
Yeah. So we have to
So distracted with that, with the animal, that you cannot connect, like you cannot let Hashem get seen.
Right.
The other part is disrupting this,
Right.
this oneness and the other oneness.
Right. So what happens? So whatever happens in life, yes, it is what Hashem wanted. So the divine soul is always happy. What happens is that when we are receiving, when we are in tune with our animal soul, then what happens in life, if it wasn't in my plans, I don't want it. You know, like a little child, I'm going to, no, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, it shouldn't have happened, I don't want it to happen. You know, and we're gonna bang ourselves against the wall. And we're gonna become miserable. Because miserable comes from here. An angry person comes from here. There's no anger here, no matter what happens. So yes, today, you know, it should have been the birthday of this beautiful, beautiful child. I cannot understand why. I cannot. We don't understand, you know, the makings of Hashem. Hashem says to Moses, no man can see my face and live. Moses asked, I want to see your face. What does your face mean? You know, in the face is everything. You know, when you want to tell a lie, you can't look at a person. You know, well, my husband, he can't lie, thank God. But when he tries to say something, you know, a lie, he goes like this. He goes like, you know, like he can't. You look at his face, you know, you're hiding something, right? Because in the face is everything. So Moses asking Hashem, I want to see your face. Is Hashem, I want to understand life. I want to understand life as it's happening. I want to understand. And what does Hashem answer? No man can see my face and live. You can see my back. What is my back? What is my back? The person already left. The event already passed. Maybe 20 years later. Maybe 20 years. You know, I want to tell you something. It's very interesting. I came to this country when I was 10 years old. I was put in a public school, Highland Oaks Public School. You know, they made us memorize in English this vocabulary words. These vocabulary words, you know, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, I thought I would never gonna use them. You know, Hashem's face, why am I going to memorize? I don't have such a good memory, you know. 30 years later, 40 years later, sometimes I'm giving a class. One of those words comes to, all of a sudden, I'm teaching a class and this vocabulary word from when I was 10 years old comes out of my mouth and I say, wow, that's why I needed to memorize it. You know, to see my back means maybe later in life, sometimes. You know, I had a hard experience happen to me. I lost my first pregnancy. First pregnancy I lost. Very cruel, very. I became a Baal Teshuva after that. I became a more empathetic person. And now I can relate to somebody else's pain, to somebody else's loss. I understood that I'm not Superman. I became more humble. So many things. When it was happening, I couldn't understand. When it was happening, I said, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. I wanted my baby. Everybody else is having a baby. All my friends are having their children. I want it, you know, it's supposed to be easy. I want it to be like, but when we're focused on this, it's I, it's what I think life should be. But when we switch over and we understand, hey, it's not my life. I didn't choose it. I didn't make myself. I'm here because Hashem put me here for a reason. And it's his world. It's not my world. I'm here to do my best, but it's not my world. So everything changes. Tzaddikim are in this level all the time. Imagine, what a life. That's why it says Tzaddikim in this world are already in paradise. They're already living paradise. Because paradise, Gan Eden, is not a physical place on the map. It's not a billion light years away. It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. And sometimes here we can be in Gehinnom. We can be in hell because we're making our life hell. You know, there's a story. Rabbi Lipsker told it. I can give it over. He said there was once, because he was related to many people through the Aleph Institute, to judges, to non-Jewish judges. A non-Jewish judge says to him, I have an older mother. I want to bring her to you to speak. And he said, yeah, for sure. So the older lady comes in, she's trembling, and he says to her, so what can I help you? She says, well, I went to church and the priest says that, if you have made some transgressions in your life, you're going to go to hell. So, I'm pretty old, so I'm very scared that I'm going to go to hell. And he said to her, you don't have to worry about going to hell. You are already in hell. Rabbi Lipsker story. You're already in hell. Why? Because you're already worried. We made ourselves. I'm miserable. I'm worried. I'm going to go to hell. Oh my God, I'm going to burn. Oh, you're already in hell. This is hell. Right? And he said, and who knows? Who knows if already in life you've already been purified of whatever transgression you did. And so then you're not going to go to hell. Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. But why are you already putting yourself in hell? This is really, it's like incredible. But it's true, our mind is a tricky place to be. And the mind, everything is perspective in life. Happiness is perspective. Happiness is a choice, but it's a big choice because it says we are here to serve Hashem besimcha. No, that's a big one. It's like, not only do I have to do my job, it's like, I often say, women, we not only have to be like good women, good sisters, good mothers, good wives, we also have to be like Miss Universe. You also have to look beautiful and presentable. Like men don't have to worry about that. It's like, you also have to be Miss Universe at the same time, right? So Hashem says, not only do I want you to live life and to do mitzvot, but you have to do it besimcha. In the laws of respecting our parents, it says that to serve your parent and to say, you wanted something to drink, here it is. You didn't do the mitzvah. You did not do the mitzvah. If you serve your parents and you do not do it besimcha, you did not fulfill the mitzvah. So Hashem says the same thing. If we go through life and you do all the things like a robot, Pesach, check. Shabbat, check. Wife, check. Mom, check. Cook, check. I did everything. I pray, check. There's no simcha. You know what they're going to tell you? You have to come back. Do it again. Do it again. You have to repeat. We're souls that have to come back and back and back to this world. This is, unless we're a tzaddik. Some of those, most of those, or maybe all of those tzaddikim, they're new souls that have come down. The rest of us, we're here over and over and over. We're like repeating, like trying to get it right, because we're going to come back to this world until we do the 365 mitzvot.
Are we going to come back like you're a woman, you come back a woman, or you
Well, one commentary, this parsha by Hanan, where Moses is pleading Hashem to go into Israel, there's a commentary that says that he was even pleading Hashem, he pleaded like 515 times. And there's a commentary that says that he even said, Hashem, even just let me come back as a bird and fly over Israel. like let my neshama come. So I don't know how we're gonna come back. I don't know too much about that. But that we are gonna come back, we're gonna come back. Unless Mashiach comes first. So I often think, let's do it right the first time. It's hard. Life is hard. I have my friend Shani Biton, the amazing educator. And I once heard her say to my grandchild, this is hard, but you can do hard things. And I thought that was like an amazing phrase. It's hard, but we can do hard things. And Hashem has put us to do hard things in this world. It's hard. It's not an easy thing. To maintain ourselves positive, besimcha, to maintain ourselves on this side and not let this side get the best of me all the time, not just, a few times a day, and, once in a while. It's hard. It's not easy, but we can do it. Hashem gives us the tools. Torah study comes to give us, an extra koach, an extra effort, but we can do it, All right, so why did the animals did not attack the Or HaChaim? Why didn't they attack him? Because in the creation of the world, Hashem created the animals, and he created the animals for a purpose. The purpose was to serve man. Okay? Even the snake was created as a butler. When you go to those really fancy hotels and you stay in the really fancy suite, and if you're really, really fancy, you get a butler. You get a 24-hour attendant to all your needs, whatever you want, ice at the middle of the night, they'll get you. You have Hashem, everything in this world, it's very incredible. Everything in this world, physical, there's a counterpart in spiritual. Hashem made the animals really to serve us, okay? Even the snake was made as a butler when we behave in this way. Because when we behave in this way, as we said, everything that we feel and do and act is reflected in our face. When we're in tune with the divine soul, the animal sees the divine image and then it remembers that it has a mission to serve us, and it is in fear of us. When we act with our animal, then the animal does not recognize this divine. Today we have face recognition. Remember in COVID, I was once in a store and a person was trying to pay with their face recognition, and the person was an elderly man, and he was saying, why doesn't this face recognition get the mask? Like, why doesn't it's like the face recognition is used to your face, not to the mask. This is a mask. It's very interesting. I'm telling you, in every way, because a mask is klipa. A mask is a veil. And we are divinity. Our essence is divinity. Who we are is a big part of Hashem. We are divinity. When we act in this arena, we are veiling. We're covering up who we really are. Okay? And so this is like the mask. And then there's no face recognition. And then the animal can attack us. So in this story, it's telling us this Or HaChaim, he was so in tune with this divinity that the animals did not get next to him. The same thing happened to Daniel in the lion's den. The same thing happened to Moshe and Aaron when they went into the palace of Pharaoh. Everybody else was following the whole Jewish people. They're going into Pharaoh. They're gonna tell them, let my people go. And then when they get near the palace, all of a sudden there's lions and bears and all these wild animals protecting the palace, and all the Jewish people stayed behind. And it was only Moses and Aaron going through. And the animals did not attack them because of this. It's true. In stories of Tzaddikim, it says there was once Bethel, I don't know, there was a bear that came to the town and people were scared. And so they called this big tzaddik of the town, and he went out and he just looked at the bear, and the bear got so scared of him that he went back into the forest because this is what he saw. Okay, let's go.
The only thing is well, in life, you have people, everybody, there's all different types of people, just like there's 12 tribes that had 12 different physical attributes. There are 12 tribes that have also are known for spiritual attributes. So the thing is, sometimes when you're in a place and there's a whole bunch of other people that don't connect to you, then they don't accept you. They won't accept you, no matter what. So even if you act divine, even because everybody has something that's divine, that at least that makes them something, right? But if they cannot see you the way that they think that you are like them, it's like a normal reaction that they attack. It's just like the animal that he's afraid. He's just as afraid as the person, because he's all animal. He's all animal, so he doesn't understand. So, but when he knows, because he smells and he looks, he only has the senses. And when he sees that somebody is not attacking him because that's what he's afraid of, that only thing that he's afraid of, then he just sits.
Okay, but I don't know specifics, what you're talking about, but
The animal doesn't maybe understand. Like when you have a dog,
right,
you think you have to train them. You don't
Right.
think they understand. They only have senses. But the difference is that the human, they're supposed to have the conscious, the understanding, the eyes, the
Right.
ears, everything. So the thing is that you still have to be careful, because not everybody's the same. That's all.
100%, but we're talking about, I think, different aspects of the human being. Here we're just talking about which perspective of my soul am I gonna function from,
Right.
and what you're talking about is other people, how they're going to react to me. That's
No, I mean that everybody has those two,
Yes.
separate, right?
all
But
Jews.
that doesn't mean that what their divine soul is going to be exactly, there's no carbon copy is what I'm saying.
No.
Just like,
No, but we have to understand, divinity is a common denominator between us. Now, even in the 12 tribes, when Yaakov is giving his final blessing to each tribe, he says each tribe, right? Like Yehuda, you're the leaders, and Dan, you're the soldiers, and Zebulun, you're the merchants, and Yissachar, you're the Torah study. But then the commentary is that he gives each one also the blessing of the other one, which means, yes, each tribe is prevalent in one attribute, but we all have a little bit of each other. Okay. Now, it's very interesting. It says, where is this instance? There's examples of this where a person, either they're going to be at the mercy of other people, or they're going to be at the mercy of animals. And if a person is really in tune with this, they're better at the mercy of animals, because people have free choice. As we said, I gave the example of a marriage. Every marriage can work unless the Yetzer Hara gets in the middle, and then it's not working. Something is stopping the flow. So too, an animal will respect the divinity in a person if the person is in touch with that, but not another human being. And this is what happened with Hamas. This is the evil that is perpetrated, because man can choose to do evil. Animals cannot choose to do evil, because animals are only doing the directive of Hashem. Animals can only, I've never gone on a safari. People have told me, even when they see an animal a lion attacking a deer, it's
Survival.
yes,
It's
but
just for survival.
you don't
purposes.
feel evil.
No, it's just for a reason. It's either sleep or food,
Right,
or
right.
it's survival.
Right, but even in the presence of it, you don't feel evil. You don't feel evil has been penetrated,
No.
right? Because in the animal kingdom, there is no evil.
Mhm.
There's only evil when people are involved. Because we have a Yetzer Hara, because we have a freedom of choice, we can do evil. Evil means to do something against Hashem's will. We are the only creatures
That's
in the
true.
world that can actually choose to do evil. Animals cannot. So to be in the mercy of people or to be in the mercy of animals, like even Joseph, when he was put in the pit, it was a pit empty. Rashi says empty of water, but there were scorpions and serpents. So he was safe. He was safe there. Now, when they took him out of the pit and then they sold him, then he was in a real peril because it was right, or even his brothers wanted to kill him. They could have killed him.
And also,
Understand?
Yeah, but usually what happens with animals, because if you ride horses or when you do go on safari, is that they're so sometimes for example, when you get on a horse.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid.
Yeah.
The horse
Feel it.
will try to get you out. Will
Right.
try to make you fall.
Right.
So
Why?
it's almost like he's training the person. You're afraid of me. You need to be tougher.
Uh-huh. He's sensing your ego. He's sensing where is afraid
I
from?
thought it was the other one.
Afraid is not here. It's a good exercise for us, for all of us, to take when you have a time.
to recognize what is evil,
Yes. Which
What is the
emotion,
sign and
which emotion and which thought and which words belong in each category. There's no afraid here. There's no such thing. There's no afraid. There's no afraid. Rabbi Akiva, when the Romans are flaying his flesh and he has a smile and he's saying Shema and his students ask him, why are you happy? He says, I'm happy because I always wanted to know that I could serve Hashem with my neshama, even if it's taking my neshama away from me. There's no afraid. Afraid is here. So the animal,
Unai and Bitachon are on the other side.
100%.
There's
Emunah,
there's
bitachon is here.
Yeah. So
The animal, you're afraid. The animal is sensing, hey, you're focused on your animal. You're just another animal. I'm stronger than you. I'm gonna get you out. Get out of here. That's the animal, because in the animal kingdom is the strength of whoever wins. Strength is king. Whoever is more powerful. So I'm gonna overpower you. That's it, because you're one animal and I'm another animal and I'm stronger than you, and I'm not gonna deal with you. That's what happens.
So the divine is the one that's not afraid.
Not afraid. That's she said the word bitachon. Bitachon, which is security. I am totally sure that Hashem is with me. There's no doubt in my mind. There's faith.
safe.
Faith. I'm safe. This educator, Shani, just an amazing educator, which also when a child is worried or screaming, what does she do? She hugs them and says, you're safe. You're safe. You're good. You're safe. I love you. What is you're safe? It means get out of this realm. Come here. Get out of here. Don't think like here. Because here's where you're afraid, you're crying, I'm lonely, nobody loves me, right? I love you, Hashem loves you, you're safe, I'm with you, a hug. A hug, I once read in a magazine, I was in I think a doctor's lounge waiting for an appointment, and there was, one of those magazines for parents. It was a beautiful article, explained a hug is such a powerful thing that even to see the picture, the photograph of a hug, it already releases endorphins inside of us. Because it makes us feel protected. We need a hug. We need, to know I'm safe, people love me, I'm lovable, the word is good, Hashem loves me, so it's all of that. So we have you heard the word self-soothing? No, now it's like a parent thing now for the little children, right? When they are, I don't know, they are, what do they do? I don't know what little children are doing, but I've heard young mothers say, no, my child is self-soothing themselves, right? Sometimes they go like, we need to self-soothe ourselves, right? Because it's all about my inwardness. Where am I? The Baal Shem Tov says, you are where your thoughts are. You are where your thoughts are. And if we have said, Gan Eden and hell, heaven and hell are not a physical place in the map. It's a state of thought. It's a state of thought. So I need to put myself constantly trying to get into a safe space. I need to get myself into, now there's many things that we can do for that. Like I know I need to wash my hands in the morning, netilat yadayim, modeh ani. I need to pray. I need to say my tehillim. I need to exercise. I need to get, my animal, my body. I need to move it. I need to move it. I need to do my yoga. And today I swam, I was swimming. I need to eat healthy. I need to teach. I need to study. There's many things that you can do, many tools. There's many tools that are available in order to help us stay in this place and get out of this. Okay, but this is a constant. This is why we're here in life. This is a constant thing from when we are born till when we die. And success is not that I'm never going to be here. It's the less time I spend here, I have to pat myself on the back. Wow, you had a good day. You had a good day. You only had a little moment of worry, a little moment of despair. You only lost your cool once, I was talking to a lady this morning, right? And I'm trying to explain certain things, but I know this woman and she really and I felt like patient. And then, she starts to raise her voice to me. And and I was saying to myself, Vivian, you're not gonna keep your cool. And at the very, very end, I was like, okay, fine. And I said, oh my gosh, okay, what did I do? And it's like, and I said, okay, Vivian, all right. Most of the time you kept your cool. To lose our cool is totally here. Totally. I don't care who's talking to you. Really. I don't care what's happening. To lose your cool, you're here. And to keep your cool, you're here. No matter if there's I talked yesterday about the cruise ship that left New Jersey and was caught in a hurricane winds, in a hurricane storm. You can see it on YouTube. It's crazy. Kudos to that captain. Because you see, the videos are crazy. People were outside when they were caught in this hurricane storm. And the captain ordered, there were more than 4,000 people on board with children. And he ordered everybody to stay in the rooms, that come to the room. And the waves were 30, 40 feet. This wasn't like just a little storm. This was a huge storm. Kudos to the captain who kept his cool. And he said, doesn't matter what the storm is, doesn't matter how we got here, doesn't matter what's going on. I'm going to take this ship and we're going to go safe. We're going to go safe. And he did it. It's crazy, but he did it. And I haven't heard that anybody died. So it was okay. All right, let's go on. So this is a repetition from yesterday, whoever was here. Okay. There are two aspects to every Avera. So we're saying divine soul is in unison with Hashem. Hashem has a program for us, right? And we have 248 positive commandments. We have 365 negative commandments. 365 negative commandments. If we add them up, we get the magic number of 613. Okay? So 248 is what Hashem wants us to do. 365 are what Hashem does not want us to do. What is an avera? An avera is a transgression. Anything of this constitutes a transgression. A transgression of what? A transgression of going against Hashem's will. Okay, that's an avera. Anything. 365 is like, do not speak Lashon Hara, and do not delay your payment to a worker. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't rob, right? Anything of this, all the prohibitions of prohibited marriages and all of that is a transgression, okay? All right, so there are two aspects to every avera. So they're saying, if we incur on this, there's two aspects to this transgression. What are the two aspects? The specific damage caused by performing a particular avera. So it says that there's there's a damage. Why? Because Hashem has given us a divine soul. So a divine soul is something pure. It's like Hashem brings us to this world and he gives us this beautiful clothing. And he says, take care of it, because this is what we're gonna go through life. Now, what happens, I wear my clothing, or I put my beautiful white tablecloth, and then we eat and somebody spills ketchup or somebody spills another thing, or, and so our neshama, our soul, gets soiled. So one damage is particular, which means what did it get damaged with? Was it with speech? Was it with thought? Was it with action? And so too, when we bring something to the laundry, they're gonna ask us, what was this thing? Sometimes I love it. They're like, you send something to the laundry and then you get a phone call. What was it stained with? And I have no idea. What are they talking about? I don't know what I stained it with, right? Was it oil? Was it wine? Was it chocolate? I don't know. I have no idea, right? But why are they asking? Because according to the stain, you need to get the stain out, right? So too, the loss of kashrut. Whatever it was, the loss of kashrut, if a knife was used with just cold, something not kosher, I can just wash it with something cold. But if it was used with something hot, I need something hotter. Okay. So in this, each avera, one second. Okay. Each avera, each transgression is different and requires a different cleansing process for the neshama. Now, many times it's during our lifetime. During our lifetime, Hashem, it says that Hashem, everything that happens to us in life is orchestrated especially for me and for each one of us. Like he has this incredible, what do you call it? The computer, the
Programming.
no. The computer program that he can orchestrate everything that happens in our life, especially for us. So what happens is that a particular transgression by a person, right? Sometimes maybe let's say I wasn't sensitive, right? My transgression was that I was insensitive to somebody. All of a sudden, Hashem orchestrates my life, and now I have to be extra sensitive to people. And it happens. Maybe it's my son, maybe it's my child, maybe it's I don't know. But that's okay. So because this is the particular for a person, now sometimes it happens through life that I can actually purge myself, purify myself. And if not during my lifetime, then after a person dies, the first 11 months,
That's why we don't ask for neshama the first 11 months after they died. We don't ask for favors. We don't go to their grave and say, pray for me, do me. No, we don't do that because they're working on themselves. They're going through a cleansing process themselves for 11 months before they can go again, because they have to cleanse their neshama to go before the king. Yes.
That's why they said not to go to the tomb the first 11 months, right?
Yes. Yeah, because they're working on themselves. They're going through their own cleansing process. After that, we can always go and pray for ourselves. Okay. Second, what is the second aspect? The fact that the person violated an explicit command of Hashem. Like another thing is, if I do a transgression, then all transgressions globally, I am going against Hashem's wish, whatever it is, right? The rebellion and disrespect of not following his command is the same for every Avera. So globally, it's the same. Particularly, that is different for each Avera. A person can convince himself that a small Avera, so, the Yetzer Hara, it says that the snake in Gan Eden, it was the most cunning of all animals. What does the most cunning mean? Means that it knows what, huh?
Knows how to change people's minds.
Right. Right. It's like now the new anti-Semitism, right? It's disguised as anti-Zionism. We love Jews, we just hate Israel. No, and we hate people that love Israel. No, it's like, oh, it's not that, but it's really this, but it's not, You start to negotiate, right? And it's all coming from that same place. So a person, one of the ways that the Yetzer Hara tries to convince us is that it's a small Avera. It's not a big Avera. It's just a little Avera, right? It's not so bad. And he's still holding up in his Yiddishkeit. I'm still on this camp. I'm still on this side. I'm still one with Hashem. We're tight, right? I'm just going to transgress in that little thing. So we have to remember, I gave this example yesterday of the Maccabees. The Maccabees in Hanukkah, what did they say? It was a small band of Jews, and they said, Mi kamocha balim Hashem. Who is with Hashem? He's with us. If you're not on our team, then you're against us. There's no middle way. Why? They were not talking to the Syrian Greeks. The Maccabees were not talking about Jews against the non-Jews. The Maccabees were talking to Jews against Jews that didn't hold. And you're shaking your head, but a few years ago we couldn't understand this, right? We thought, oh, this happened like hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago. Now we can understand it. Now we can actually see Jews that don't believe in Israel. We can actually see Jews that don't believe in other Jews. We can actually see Jews that are hugging the Hamas, right? We couldn't understand it before. We said, what are they talking about? The Maccabees were talking to those Jews. They were saying, if you're not in the camp of Hashem, you're against him, period. Mm-hmm. End of story, right? And this is what we have to talk to our own Yetzer Hara. We have to speak to ourselves. This is one of the tools in the Tanya. The Tanya says you should have some time. It's not like when you're in Publix, in the middle of the day. But yes, you can have some time in the day when you talk to yourself and you talk to your own Yetzer Hara and say, I'm not listening to you. There's no negotiation. I'm just not listening to you. You know when I actually feel this? When it's like a few weeks before Pesach. I'm about Teshuvah, so I used to start cleaning for Pesach many years ago, once upon a time, in the Parsha of Shemot. When I used to come to shul, Parsha.
Remember so many things, amazing.
Parsha of Shemot You know, you start reading about the Jews descending into Egypt, and I would say to them, "Oh, Vivian, Egypt. Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning my house for Pesach." You know, and my children went, "Mommy, why 3 months before Pesach?" Okay. But
Takes
you
a
know,
long time.
okay, but that's what about the Shua does. Okay, we go through the ranks. Okay, so now, you know, a few years into Baal Teshuva, I don't do that anymore, right? So now my Yetzer Hara tells me, Vivian, of course you're gonna clean for Pesach, but you know, you used to clean like 5 hours straight for Pesach with a toothbrush and a toothpick. So when you have 5 hours, you're for sure gonna do it. But I don't have those 5 hours, right? Because life gets more intricate. Life doesn't get more simple. Life every day gets more intricate, right? So I don't have those 5 hours. So I said to myself, okay, if I don't have those 5 hours, and it's not a holy thing to clean for Pesach, if you don't have 5 hours, right? And like my Yetzer Hara is just going at it, right? And the weeks are passing, and the weeks are passing, and the weeks are passing. And this 1 year,
Super stressful.
so 1 year, I was a few weeks before Pesach, we had a bar mitzvah, I remember, in the Aventura Chabad. You know Rabbi Forta? I think he swallowed like a microphone when he was a little boy because he has this voice. Like he talks like, you know, like the chief of the circus. Like, you know, like, so I'm there in the bar mitzvah, you know, we moved to the cousins to be the bar mitzvah, and I'm there Saturday morning, and I'm still, you know, a few weeks before Pesach, and I haven't started my cleaning, and he goes, you know, ladies, that is only 3 weeks before Pesach, and you have to go clean. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna go. And like, I needed that. Hashem sent me there because I needed that. So it's a good thing. It's a tool. You can also do that to yourself. You can tell yourself, you know, even if I don't have, and so what I had to negotiate with my own Yetzer Hara, and I had to say, Vivian, of course I would love 5 hours to clean, but I don't have it. But you know what? I'm only gonna clean for 3 minutes. I only have 3. Of course, it's not gonna be so great as always. It's not gonna be like those super cleaning for Pesach. It's just gonna be a little bit. And you know what happened when I started that negotiation? I cleaned for 3 minutes, and then it turned to an hour. You know, an hour it turns to 2 hours, and you find the time. But because the Yetzer Hara is keen, and it gets you, and you need, you know what is repairing the sin? Repairing, because the first sin of Chava and Adam was made because of the snake, and the snake used all of its wiles and, you know, and to get to us. We need to do the same thing to undo the sin. We need to use that same keen and negotiation to, and now this time for holiness. So I'm telling you, this is one thing that I did with my own self, Vivian with Vivian. Of course, it's not going to be so great, and I wish it would, but I know it's going to be mediocre. Okay, we're just going to start a little bit, you know what? And I actually got that because I was talking to Honey Lipsker. I remember that, I think that year or another year, and she was telling me she has a very frum sister. All her sisters are frum, but Stella from California, very frum sister, and her sister was telling Honey on the phone, you know, a few weeks before Pesach, Honey, did you start cleaning for Pesach? And Honey said, no. Did you start making anything for Pesach? I said, no. But Honey, you know, you should start even a sauce. Just do like a little sauce, like something. You know, that's the negotiation. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I'm not gonna make the chicken soup, and I'm gonna make a little sauce, just a little sauce, and nothing. And what happens? You start the little sauce, and then you find yourself making the chicken soup and buying the ingredients and we need to negotiate with ourselves, because this is undoing the first thing, okay? All right, so a person can convince himself that a small avera is not so bad, and he's still holding up his Yiddishkeit. You know, I'm just gonna do this little transgression. It's not so, I'm really tight with Hashem, right?
the person foolishly ignores the fact that every Avera is a rebellion and therefore disconnects him from Hashem, right? Because we lose ourselves into this perspective. Okay. Next, we're going down here. There's a spirit of foolishness that overpowers a person's usual logic. So how, the Alter Rebbe is very systematic. Just like the Torah, it's very systematic. It goes like one concept and then dissects to a second concept. So it's telling us, how could a person maintain themselves in this realm, like this tzaddik, and not in here? And then it's going to go and say to us, well, listen, let's dissect it, right? We're dissecting that every time we're here, it really constitutes a transgression. And then now it's going to explain to us, how could a person, if this is so bad, how could we ever get here? I mean, nobody wants to be in a bad place. So how, if to do something that is against Hashem is really constitutes a rebellion against Hashem, and nobody wants to rebel against the king, how do we ever get here? So now it's going to explain it. It's going to say there's a spirit of foolishness. It's called a spirit of folly that overpowers a person's usual logic. So my logic is, yes, I want to be tight with Hashem. I want to be one with Hashem, because every child wants to be next to its mommy, right? But convinces them that with a minor Avera, they are not disconnected. This is the spirit of folly. But this foolishness cannot overrule the chokhmah in each person, the deep, indestructible flame of the neshama that longs to be connected to Hashem and is terrified of doing anything that will weaken its connection. So what is it? What is the spirit of folly? So when we look at a movie, right, we see a movie and there's a person and he murdered somebody, and then his lawyer comes before the judge and he says, no, my client is really an upstanding citizen. He's exemplary. It was a momentary insanity. Just for this little moment, just for this 30 seconds, he became crazy. But he's not a crazy man. He's a great father. He's an upstanding citizen, right? But it was momentary insanity. So don't judge him as a murderer, because he's not this murderer. He never murdered anybody in his life, and he never will again. It was just a lapse, right? Momentary insanity. So where does this momentary insanity come from? This is the spirit of folly. The spirit of folly is momentary insanity. Because the spirit of folly, we said, Maccabees are either you're in this team or I'm in this team. That's it. No, there's no halfway, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're in this team, how can I ever get here? Momentary insanity is telling me you can be here, but you're going to still be here. And it's not true. And this is the momentary insanity. And I always give the example of a person that counts their calories for the diet, and they fulfill all their diet, and they fulfill all their calories, and, low oil and low sugar and whatever. And at the middle of the night, they get up and they go to the refrigerator and they take out the Haagen-Dazs, or they take out the chocolate cake. And why do they eat it? Why does a person eat it? Because it doesn't count. Because nobody's looking. Because I already fulfilled all my calories. But this is like a little thing. It's not gonna count. Of course it counts. Everything counts. Right? Mm-hmm. So the momentary insanity, the spirit of foolishness, is that foolishness that makes us think, I can do this transgression, but it's not going to affect who I am. So there's a story with the Rebbe. It was a woman that went to see him, and the Rebbe said to her, that night that you went out with another man, and you came home, and the baby had fallen from the crib and broke its leg. That was the consequence.
That's the consequence. There is a consequence. You did something. It's not like this didn't count. This is what they tell us about the sota. The sota is the spirit of foolishness. Why? Because she thought, and I'm not justifying it because, yes, they tell us she had a very hard husband and her husband, this is a commentary on the sota. Because nobody's going to look for a relationship outside the marriage if they're very happy and fulfilled in their marriage. It's not going to happen. There was something missing in that marriage. Okay, so she thought, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to fulfill myself in other ways with another person. And it's not going to affect my children. It's going to affect who I am. It's not going to affect my relationship with Hashem. It's not going to affect it. And what is the consequence of the sota? Is that it does affect. Everything counts, right? So we need to understand ourselves, the perspective, and it's within us. Hashem gives us the power. Hashem gives us the tool, but the homework is with us. Okay, we're going to leave it here. Thank you. So I am not here next week, and I'm not going to have Zoom next week, but we'll commence Zoom the following one, okay? So just for 1 week, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be here only Tuesday in Spanish next week, okay?
Yes, no?
10.
And Wednesday.
Tuesday is at 10.
Mhm.
Wednesday is at 12:30.
Okay.
Maybe in a few weeks, it's going to change the Tuesday class, but I don't know the time. But next Tuesday, I'm going to be here. Tuesday, I'm going to be here at 10 o'clock in Spanish. Wednesday is 12:30, but I'm not going to be next Wednesday here. Next Wednesday, I'm not going to be here. There's not going to be Zoom. And next Thursday, there's not going to be Zoom either. I'm not here. But the following week, we will have Zoom continue.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.